As the Ebola virus continues to spread around the country, the concern level of many is starting to rise. Now, Chicago's Rush University's Medical Center, University of Chicago's Medical Center, Northwestern Memorial, and Ann and Robert H. Lurie's hospitals are preparing to provide people with Ebola service and care. This means that more people with the virus could be brought into the city and amongst the public, making everyone start to worry about the potential spread.
I am concerned about Ebola coming to Chicago with taking the public transportation so much, like the L, buses, and especially flying home for holidays or summer. It just seems like, since it's easily spreadable, that it could be something of concern, especially being a student in the city.
Many believe that the main way the virus could spread quickly throughout the city is through contact on public transportation. On an average weekday, nearly 1.7 million people ride the CTA. There are over 1,000 train cars and nearly 1,800 buses that need to be cleaned daily, and spots could be missed. This creates a perfect environment for the virus to be touched and spread around. However, Kate Shamblin, a DePaul medical student, says that Ebola isn't that easy to spread.
Ebola virus isn't really that contagious, considering that it requires direct contact with bodily fluids, and even if it requires that, you still have to show severe symptoms to be contagious. So if you're not showing symptoms, you're not going to give it to the next person.
The CDC agrees with Shamblin's view by claiming that a person must come in direct contact with bodily fluids of a person with heavy symptoms of the virus. Due to this, they claim that it is not very likely to spread. However, as long as people continue getting the virus, people will continue to worry. As voters lined up on Tuesday to cast their ballots, there was one age group that wasn't very well represented: college students.
Well, honestly, I don't really pay attention to politics, so I really felt there's no reason for me to vote.
Many people of this age group feel the same way about politics. They either don't have enough knowledge on politics, or they don't have an opinion on who should be elected. Due to this, only a quarter of registered young people voted in this year's midterms. However, the reduced number of voters from people of this age group does not stop there. In the 2008 presidential election, only 58% of young people voted. In the 2012 presidential election, the vote tally went down again, where only 51% voted, a 7% drop. Some young people didn't vote for other reasons as well. For DePaul student Sabrina DiMazzo, the lack of time in her location caused her not to vote.
So I didn't vote because I'm not from around here, and I know it's just like a lot longer process to vote, and I just haven't really had the time or put much effort into it.
This is also a major concern for young people. For college students who are not from the area they are attending school, there is no convenient way to vote. They must be mailed an absentee ballot weeks before the election and send it back. This process can be difficult at times, and many students do not have time for it. With all of these reasons, many can see why the number of college student voters is down. With easier methods of voting and ad campaigns focusing on younger audiences, maybe students will be more compelled to go out and vote. 26.2 miles. That's how far the nearly 47,000 people who participated in the Chicago Marathon ran this past weekend. The race spanned the whole city, starting and ending in Grant Park and winding its way from the north side to the south side. In the end, Kenyan's Eliud Kipchoge and Rita Leptu won the men's and women's races. However, also in the pack was DePaul senior Sarah Laspiza, who described her experience throughout the race.
So the beginning of it was really fun just because they had like commentators and a lot of people were cheering us on and whatever. And just being with a lot of people doing the same thing, you can't really stop. But when I got to mile 20, it was really hard because it got to like the very far south side. It was really hilly and the sidewalks were broken. It was just like gross and everyone started to slow down.
However, a marathon is much more than a race. For many, it is a mental and physical challenge that tests the runner's passion and drive. It is an accomplishment that they can hang on to forever. For Sarah, this race meant much more than time and positioning. It meant going out there and making something of herself.
I wanted to get in shape again, and I wanted to do something productive before I graduated. And I just entered into the lottery. I didn't think I would get picked, and I did. So once I did, I was like, well, I guess I'm doing it. So it was just really, really random and kind of like a spur of the moment thing. And I'm happy I did it.
Sarah started training in March to prepare for the race. She continued a workout regimen that increased her running distances each week. By the time she finished the race, many of her friends couldn't believe what she had been through and accomplished over the past few months. Sarah's roommate Jessica Shamshura says that seeing her friend cross the finish line was unbelievable.
It was kind of surreal, just the fact that she had literally run 26.2 miles. I mean, I saw her through her training process and increasing her mileage every single day, but I just never thought it would be real until she actually completed it.
For Sarah, the marathon was much more than a competition. It was completing a goal that she set for herself months ago. But that's what the Chicago Marathon is all about. Challenging yourself to strive for greatness and then achieving it. For a third year in a row, tuition prices have continued to grow for college students. As the price continues to rise, the challenge of paying for school continues to grow. Many have to work 1 or 2 jobs in order to just afford school and a place to live, and sacrifice the fun lifestyle college can offer. Victoria Gallagher, a DePaul senior, is one of these students. Gallagher's schedule is almost entirely filled up with school and work.
So I wake up around 7 every morning, get dressed, have breakfast, and then I'm at work by 8. And then I'm at work until 2 at 670 The Score, the radio station. I go to class for an hour and a half, and then I'll go straight to Rocket Bar and Grill and hostess there until about 12:30, 1 in the morning, depending on when they cut me. And then I go home, see if there's any homework I need to do for the next day, and then I do it all over again.
Gallagher works 2 jobs in the city, one at 670 The Score radio station and another at Rocket Bar and Grill. Not only does she have to balance class and work during the day, but she also has to work when she's at home too, interfering with her time to do schoolwork.
So a part of my job at The Score is running the Instagram account, and basically we have to come up with a strategic plan for every week, coming up with posts. We post about 3 times a day, so I spend a lot of time not at work working on this project.
Due to her extremely busy schedule, she is always out of the house. Her roommate, Maggie McCann, says that even though she lives with Gallagher, she rarely sees her.
So I've known Victoria since freshman year, and we got along really well. We both have similar perspectives about like school and work, and how to manage both those things while still having a college life. I never really see Victoria. I babysit. I'm an education major, so I do my teaching, and I'll be doing my student teaching. So I'm like early morning, and she comes home like late at night. So like our schedules are very different.
People like Victoria need to work constantly due to college tuition prices continuing to rise. This year, for students going to public schools, tuition raised an average of 2.9%. Last year, the number rose by 2.8%. For students going to private universities, the tuition price raised an average of 3.7% this year. Last year, it rose 4.1%. With the continual raise of tuition price, the increase of student loans and financial aid has risen drastically as well. From the 2007 school year to the 2012 school year, the amount of students using some type of financial aid in the United States went from 75% to 85%. Gabby Hawk, a DePaul student, is one of many who uses financial aid.
I do get financial aid. I actually have multiple loans taken out, while I also have a scholarship. So the scholarship helps a little bit, but I'd still, once I graduate college, I'm going to probably be in 6 figures of debt.
On average, 69% of college students coming out of college are in debt. The average amount of debt they have is nearly $30,000. If students use a 10-year loan term, that would be a payment of nearly $350 per month for 10 years, which is a substantial hole to be in at the beginning of a career. However, some financial experts think that is a wise investment.
So, especially, the work that I've done, and I was a low-income student. You have to think of loans in the context of going to college as an investment in yourself, right? Yes, it's debt, but it's also an investment.
As wise as the investment may be, many students are still concerned that they will be in serious financial crisis after they graduate.
Well, I am a journalism major, so it is a very tough field to definitely get into after college, but I'm hoping that it will be easier I'm hoping that I'll eventually be able to pay them off, but I mean, it's probably definitely going to be difficult, because who's to say I'm going to be lucky enough to even get a job in this economy once I graduate. And even if I did get a starting journalism job, like that's not going to pay that well, and with how much debt I'm going to be in, I'm a little worried.
Because the price of tuition is so high, people like Hawk and Gallagher need to work really hard in school as well, because they're sacrificing so much to be able to go. For Gallagher, the stress of not doing well in classes sometimes can be overwhelming.
So it puts a lot of pressure on me to do well in school. It's not like I'm getting a free ride here. I'm working for every grade that I receive, and if I don't do well on a test, it already puts more pressure on me to do better the next time because the class costs thousands of dollars. So it's not something I can really slack off with. It is hard and puts a lot of stress on me, but I think in the end it's going to be really beneficial to me as a person in the real world.
No matter how students pay for college, there are some who have to make a greater dedication than the rest. Although it may be a great investment for their future, the toll that comes with rising tuition prices will continue to be a burden for many.